So my name is Jeremiah Salzberg. I'm the Chief Security Technologist at CDW. I've been in security for over 30 years. I should be in front of the mic. I'm one of those people who love to move around too, so it's be challenging. But I've been in security for over 30 years. I've been a pen tester, incident responder, all the way to sitting in that CISO seat. I like to call myself now a recovering CISO. I was able to get back to technology, which is what I love, and get away from the budget and politics, which seem to be half of my job as a CISO. So I'm much happier now. They asked me to come talk a little bit about security by design, something I really believe in, but it's also something I think has really been focused on servers, applications, other areas. And as a pen tester, as somebody who looks at all of our incident responses and seeing how we're being attacked, really the thing that is being most attacked is our end users. And so my question is, is there a way to do secure by design for end users? And it's a real challenge, right? People are inherently insecure. We are trusting, we love to help. These are all great categories. I don't want to, not make people that. I think it's a great thing that we're, good to others, right? And I don't want to breed that out of people or beat it out of them through whatever we're doing. And I always say that, there's no way to stop people from clicking on things. One of the CISO, my whole motto was, my job is not to stop people from clicking on links. My job is to make sure that when they click on that link, nothing bad happens, right? And that is a goal and philosophy I've met because I can make people click on anything. I did a talk at a phishing conference, that's the PH one, not the FI one. And at that conference, I talked about a scenario I came up with a whole methodology for attacking IT and security people. And we're the people who should know better, right? We shouldn't click on these campaigns. We shouldn't click on emails because we're smarter than that, right? It's our job to know these types of things. It's not everyone that works for us that's our coworkers. It's not their job to be security people. When I was done with this whole campaign, I went through it. I asked how many people in this room would click on this link, and a lot of hands went up. And I said, how many people think somebody on their team would click on this link? And everyone raised their hands. So it's something that you can't stop when you have dedicated, good attackers. And we have much better attackers now. They're being helped with AI, better emails, better everything else. So it's a massive challenge. And we're trying to fight it a little bit with education, but I don't think education is going to solve the problem. We need to secure everything that human touches, right? And I think we start with end user computing. And so if you're lucky enough to be able to manage devices, the best thing you can do is lock those systems down as much as possible. Hopefully everyone's already gotten rid of administrative rights. If you haven't, I can't help you. There's no way to secure it if you give people administrative rights. You might as well assume it's compromised at that point. If you want to give administrative rights to specific applications, there's ways to do that, but it's also a challenge, right? And so you need to first lock that system down for least privilege, and then the next thing you need to do is take away every single application that is not needed on that system. Windows ships with every single type of tool. I need to compromise your systems, right? All of these extra applications help me do command and control, help me do data exfiltration. They help me map out the system so I can identify what users, what systems. It gives me lots of great capabilities. And if you take away all of those, you go to a minimal build, if you can, for that Windows system, or a methodology to restrict access to only the applications they need, you've now created a secure by design laptop that is both restricted from rights and secure. What this does, it starts to create an environment where those attackers have to work a lot harder to get into other systems, right? And they start fighting that cage that they're in. And when they're fighting that cage, they should be creating alerts, should be creating things for you to see. So the more we restrict those systems, the more we lock them down, we're doing a lot better. The other thing I'm a huge fan of, and I think everyone's sick of the term, it's a zero trust, is I love that concept. These systems should only be able to talk to other systems that they need to. If I'm a payroll specialist, I should be able to get to the payroll server, but everyone else who's not a payroll specialist shouldn't be able to get to that server, shouldn't be able to touch it, no IP connectivity, nothing, right? You shouldn't be able to talk to it. So if we can restrict down to zero trust, we're getting much better. And we can also do the same thing with data, get to least privilege on data. Now we have an environment where attackers will move on. I've seen this before where they get in, they get an account, they have limited rights, and at that point they move on. It does happen, it is real, but it's a much better way to go around this. Now, I will say, and I have to talk about AI because we all have to talk about AI these days, is attackers are now using AI to go after the systems. The first thing they do, and the first thing I always did when I was an attacker, is I looked at what's happening on that end system for files. So like I'm looking for all the file systems. Now attackers are just asking their friendly AI, give me the most important information for this company. Like show me your incident response plan, show me your network diagrams. It's a great, fantastic way to get easy information quickly, and we're not really monitoring this yet. We don't have great tools to actually monitor those attacks on AI. And they're also asking for the most valuable data. Like if they can just get the data they need without doing any more work than just asking, your friendly AI, they're going to do that, right? And they're going to ask, what are the Lebanon herbs and spices if you're a fried chicken company, right? I think that information is pretty well known at this point, but they're going to be doing that. And it's a challenge, and I will tell you that I myself love attacking AI. It's probably my favorite new hobby, something you should all go out and play with, prompt injection and other attack methodologies. There's a lot of great games out there like Gandalf AI. I really recommend doing it. But we're all attacking AI, and so if you're expecting AI to protect information, you need to be rethinking that. So if you think that you have a good data segmentation methodology and that AI only has access to the data it should, and is only going to give you access for you, you're probably wrong on this point, because we've been able to make AI give us data that we should not have access to, and we're continuing to be able to do that with better and better prompt injection. So it's a challenge. If you're going to give AI sensitive information, think about having that as a separate AI that only certain people have access to. Limit the access to those ones. If you just have generic AI, give it limited sets of data, which I know reduces the business use of it, but at the same time, you should have a business justification for why that AI has access to data. It's a real challenge out there. Now, if you're unlucky enough to not have the ability to control your system, think about student laptops, professors' laptops. They're probably the worst. My dad was a professor, so I have a lot of respect for them, but at the same time, he always got what he wanted in computing. So it's a challenge. And the best way to think about it is if I don't have access to manage that system, I have to assume it's compromised. Right? And you don't want to manage personal systems. There is so many privacy issues with that. I have seen things that I wish I had not seen on personal computers, and I shouldn't have been put in that place as an investigator to be able to see that information. So when you have a personal system, you need to be verifying it, monitoring it all of the time. You need to make sure it's not doing things it shouldn't. And if you can, you need to isolate. You need to isolate your data and systems from that system. You can do that with secure browsers. You can do that with virtualization systems. You need to have some sort of layer that protects you from that probably compromised endpoint and all of your systems. And you need to be always monitoring this. And a little trick I do also, I treat all third parties like this too. So I never trust them, and I always verify them. I make sure that they're, have the least amount of privileges, and I'm always monitoring. I just assume that those third parties are always compromised. Now, the goal here is less privilege. I keep talking about least privilege because that's the term we use, but I want you to think about less privilege. Try to get to a place that is better, but not perfect, right? If we try and get to least, we're going to fail. We fail almost every single time. We want to make sure that perfection is not the enemy of the good, right? We want to make sure that we're able to get to this. One of the tricks I tell people with data access and system access is look for stale access. Somebody has an access to file in 2 months, 3 months, whatever date you want to set, yoink, get rid of it. I haven't touched that document 3 years, that's out of here, right? I haven't accessed that system for 6 months, why do I have access to it, right? Get rid of stale access. It's a great way to kind of get towards that less privilege as quickly as possible, right? And this is what helps us turn breaches into basic incidents. This is what gets us to a level where that incident isn't now causing a massive problem. I've lost maybe a little bit of data with a single user compromise, but I haven't lost everything. And most likely that system has created lots of alerts once they got in because they couldn't get to systems, they couldn't get to data. It's fantastic. So if you do these things, you can get there. Obviously, the little marketing spiel, we're here to help. We're the largest security provider in the US right now. And we've got an army of people that can come help you. I think I made my 10 minutes maybe, hopefully. I don't have time for questions, but if you see me out in the hallway, pull me aside. I got lots of opinions on everything. Thank you. it out. There we go.